questioning how it got a director's approval and a de minimis clearance at Coastal. So I have since contacted Coastal after contacting the city and...
No reply yet, right?
Excuse me?
No reply yet?
Actually, I did get I had a conversation this evening with Chuck Posner at 5:30 as he was on his way out the door. And he's with the Coastal Commission, and he made it clear that if we wanted to take it off the de minimis list for Coastal on the consent calendar, it was put on there by a new staff person that didn't understand the impact of the project. And if we want it taken off, the only way we can do that is to send a letter. He said that the letter would be best sent by the neighborhood council, but if not the neighborhood council, then send it by as many individuals as possible. To have it taken off their calendar, 3 of the 12 commissioners have to agree that there is a reason to hear the case. So I've since drafted a letter that I hope Linda will sign, and we can then send off.
What's the date of Coastal?
The 13th, next week. So it's before their VNC board meeting, but because it's only a letter asking to have it be held open and it's not making a decision on whether or not it's up or down, I think she's done that before on other cases.
We've got a motion that we put forward over a year ago that if we didn't have a chance to hear a case, we would have a right to ask to hold it open so that we could hear it. And that's already been approved by the VNC to do that, so if you send a letter to...
So we're not actually asking it to be held open, we're asking it to have a coastal development permit hearing rather than a coastal development exam.
Okay, good.
It's sort of surprising how these things... Anyway, this was a sign-off by the planning person, Greg Shute.
Okay. That's shocking. Okay, all right, so...
On other projects, I can also update you on the 320, second 320, very coincidental, directly across the street is 320 Sunset. The bakery, that is a change of use from office to bakery with a retail takeout counter. We had 2 public outreach meetings. I'm in the process of writing up a staff report. There was a lot of concern from the neighbors about noise, the hours of operation, parking. And this is directly across the street from where they're going to be putting in 160 bicycle racks. So, again, the neighborhood's impacted. We have to figure
Where's
out
the 160 bike racks going to go? Do you know? Did you see any drawings?
No, there aren't any drawings available. It's just all written out on paper. There is no anything about where the mezzanines, how do you put 13,000 square feet of mezzanine in an existing office building?
Okay.
I mean, there's just a lot of questions.
All right, so you and I will follow up on that.
Yep.
How did that get to Coastal in the first place?
Good question.
What I'm saying is, was it issued an exemption?
Yes.
Okay, so exemptions don't get to Coastal, do they?
Well, I guess because of the way that they filed it. It's not clear. I've already posted all the documents online. You can look at them yourself. There's very little documentation.
But if something gets a coastal exemption, I don't think that you can even appeal it to
I
Coastal.
believe that the coastal exemptions are on their consent calendar automatically. And it has to still clear the consent calendar before the exemption. Because there is no certified land implementation plan, if there's only a certified land use plan, then all of them still have to be...
Okay.
Yeah.
So if we catch a coastal exemption before it gets to the consent calendar,
Good question.
but that's what's happening here,
I
right?
understand. But the only reason that I found out about it was because I have spies in there. And they happen to
It's
tell
here
me.
on the CNC report, what you said, I found it.
But it's on the CNC report, and it came out on Monday, but it was issued 2 weeks earlier. And if you look online at the city's planning cases, the planning cases say it hasn't happened yet.
So the DIR has not been issued.
That if you look at the cities, currently as of today, the planning website still says that there has been no issuance of a DIR.
So when it's issued, we want to know, so that we have the 14 days, don't we?
One would hope so.
So why don't we ask Tricia to make sure we get notice in time for the 14 days?
So I went to the RAC hearing, the West LA Regional Alliance, whatever it's called.
Yeah, you got it.
The original notice.
And I made some notes. The person who was doing the speaking on the city's behalf at this meeting was the same woman that hands out the CNC. She's the one that writes the CNC reports or has them published.
Right.
She,
Claudia?
Nahando, whatever her name, Heidi something.
Yeah.
She, I mean, what was really clear is that the IT department, the information technology department, has zero funding, and we're not likely to get anything out of them that we don't already get. That their budgets have been cut way back, they're doing some sort of new matrix to try and get anything changed in any of the reporting, or to get any new reporting done, because a lot of people would like to see what's happening.
In real time.
Well, no, on building and safety permits, because a building and safety, and the examples that were being used is there's many apartment buildings going in all over town where the apartment building is by right and there is no planning case. And the only reason we happen to be lucky enough to hear planning cases is because it's in the coastal corridor. If it was on the other side of Lincoln, we wouldn't ever hear about them because they would be by right. And building and safety would just be issuing the permit and it wouldn't go through planning. There is no sign-off because there's no specific plan and there is no anything else. So a lot of people would like to have information about what's happening with those because a lot of them have major impacts on their neighborhoods. And it was just made very, very clear, there's no money for that now.
And so back to the other subject, you were saying that this large employer has been caught again, but this time you might be able to do something about it. So I guess my question is, do you feel like you will get them to give you the DIR before the 14 days is up? Can you do that?
The DIR is already done. The DIR is finished. It's already, even though the website, the city's website is out of date, the DIR is already closed.
The 14 days has passed.
The 14 days had passed before that report came out and notified us that it was even happening.
So did any of the adjoining property owners get a copy?
No, nobody got a copy. It was a DIR.
But they're required to...
They own all of the surrounding property. And that's one of the questions. If Google is planning on expanding and they're talking about parking things here and parking, they span more than 12 properties over there. It's a 2-block radius. None of the properties have covenant agreements requiring that if they move out of a building that the other building can't continue to exist. There's no bifurcating of any, there's no bi-directional agreements. There's no covenant. They're just doing what they want to do.
Right.
And they're getting it all signed off.
Right.
When they took out the parking lot across the street and reduced their parking.
I mean, if it was Google, it was the only people getting things signed off, I would say, they've got a lot of pull, but pretty much everyone gets anything signed off by Greg Shute. So.
All right, anything else?
I don't have to look back at my other cases, but go ahead.
Okay.
Can you quickly repeat the first address that you said on Hampton Place?
320.
320, thank you.
320 Hampton Drive. And that one we'll be hearing shortly. I think it'll probably be on our next Lupc.
Jim, on the
Yes.
RERAC hearing, you mentioned the infrastructure report. You said you'd say a little bit more at this meeting. I'd asked.
So the city is required by the state to do an updated infrastructure report every 10 years. It's a state mandate that all cities have to describe what the state of their infrastructure is. And the comment was made that the city of Los Angeles hasn't done one in over 20 years. And that then sort of dovetailed into the conversation that how can you allow higher density housing to exist in an area where you don't know if the infrastructure can handle it. So the SB 1818 cases where they're allowing density bonuses at the state level to exist, knowing that the city's in violation of another state requirement, is sort of an oxymoron. And it's sort of like maybe this is more ammunition to fight increased density in neighborhoods where the plumbing or the sewers or the water mains or the sidewalks or for that matter the transportation corridors are already over taxi for what they're capable of doing.
projects at 18 25th Street. I think it's a reasonably small, reasonable de minimis project done by a skillful architect. I was going to mark it de minimis unless any one of my colleagues or members of the public think otherwise.
Excuse me, what was the address?
18 25th Street. It's a garage with a rec room above and roof deck.
I'll look it up.
I remembered my other case.
Okay.
Excuse me. 1421 Abbott Kenny.
Yeah.
It's a conversion from a residential building, artist in residence occupancy, to requesting offices with, in other words, a change of use from residential to offices. And they've requested that they do so with no additional parking requirements. They currently have parking for the residents on site. The same building for the last 2 months has been used as the Intel store, where they actually removed all of their parking and turned it into a store, both in the front and the rear of the building. I've been in touch with the applicant since they first came into our system. It's been over 3 months. I've had 4 conversations with him. His owner finally has fired him for whatever reason or taken him off the case as the architect, and has absolutely refused to respond to present any material to us. I would like us to ask the PNC to the board to send him a letter and send the city a letter that we're rejecting this case due to lack of cooperation. And I guess I'm not quite sure how I go about doing that other than to give it to you and you to forward it on to the board.
Please do.
Well, we have to vote on these motions.
No, we don't.
Do we?
Just to say, we want to hear the case, and so we don't open, we do not.
I thought you were saying this was a case where they won't cooperate or denying.
Right.
You just want to outright deny it?
Outright deny.
Okay.
Lack of cooperation.
Okay. Can you,
Put it on next agenda.
it's not going to go on the agenda for VNC this month? When do you have, do they have a hearing date?
No, they have nothing. They just,
Okay. So if you
I mean, I don't know.
If you could just provide some sort of backup that the communication existed, so that we've got something in a file that shows that, it's easy to do, right? Then,
I have a bunch, I have notes on 4 conversations that I've had with them.
perfect,
They're in the case file.
perfect,
And what I'll do right now is I will just schedule it right now for our next meeting.
brilliant, exactly what I'm looking for. Because I don't want to write a letter that has to say, well, we never heard from them.
Okay,
You got it.
so that'll be on the 19th.
All right. I'll put 1825 on our de minimis list, Steve, for the board to see. Okay, Ranush?
I have 2 past projects updating and 2 coming up. First of all is 835 Melwood. It passed through us and Venice Neighborhood Council. They're going on a public hearing tomorrow. So what happened meanwhile, they did a survey and they realized 1.25 inches short. So I put it on my staff report thinking that they're going to take that to the hearing tomorrow and call it. I could. I should.
What are they short on again? I forgot.
835.
I mean, short on what?
Oh, yeah, that's right. On the side yard.
Oh, the side yard,
Yeah,
that's right. I
they were
remember.
making an adjustment from, rather than having a 10-foot to 3'6". So when they surveyed it, 1.25 inches short.
If you could go to that hearing, it'd be helpful. We can talk tomorrow morning too.
And the second one is 803 and 805 Marco Place. That's, we held on to reviewing this project because there was, but they've got, because the client was absent and they were going through the Mellow Act determination. They were trying to seek that, but meanwhile they say that they've got the Venice Coastal Commission specific permit compliance already without having to come in front of us. And the architect has agreed that he will come and present to us.
They haven't.
And have notified the neighbors and come, yeah.
Okay.
They
We
didn't
wanna do
hear,
that.
but they've got the permit compliance.
is a VSO?
Don't like to confirm, but I can give you the description. They're combining 2 lots together, and they're remodeling the existing residence, and they're adding 2 accessory buildings additionally over a garage parking. This is David Kurt's project. So I contacted them a few months ago to come in front of the hearing, but
It's
they
805
said,
Markle Place.
yes, 803 and 805, they're combining 2 lots. But they said they were waiting for the client because client was absent, and now they've got permit compliance. Specific.
Okay, let me look at
So
that for a
they,
second.
yeah.
Robin?
I've been assigned a case on parcel map application and at 1212 Electric, and I guess you and I'll go over that
Okay.
tonight or very soon, and so I can get started. But I didn't know if anybody was aware of this one or had any comments or anything to say. See me, and I'm all ears.
Okay. Robert?
I do have Whole Foods and St. Joseph Center, so if anyone has any questions, let me know. The new project that's of some interest is a demolition at the corner of Rose and Lincoln on the property that Whole Foods is on. There's a separate parcel on the corner that's got an Arco on it and a Toma's restaurant. So those are proposed to be torn down and put up a gas station with a convenience store that has, and they're asking to sell beer and wine instead of the 24 hours a day. So, since no one's interested in that, I guess we'll So, what I would recommend is that you hand me your contact information, such as an email address, because the email that I sent out today regarding the meeting next week at the site with the architect, I'd like you all to attend. Is the main concern the beer and wine?
24 hours.
Our gas station open
You guys
24 hours?
can give him your information on that.
I mean, there already was a gas station. The place saying gas station was a gas station. It's beer and wine in 24 hours.
Okay.
So just so you're clear, there's state law, you can't sell alcohol to it. Of course.
So give me your email addresses and I will put you on a list, and everything that happens, you will know. But right now, there's a meeting tentatively set for next Tuesday.
Who's buying it?
It's probably the same owner who's owned it all along, yes. But I don't know that. I think it's some people from West LA, Santa Monica.
We can find out, right?
Who is it?
Who's gonna own it and buy it?
Well, we could have-
I can't hear the questions over there.
It's possible that you can have one person who owns the property and another person who leases the property and operates the establishment. But it may be in this case that the owner is also operating. That could be. Or maybe, I just don't know. The applicant is somebody from West LA. And I think they're the property owner. All the documents are on cityhood. I think the address is 152 Lincoln? Could that be? 152 Lincoln?
I'm looking it up.
But all the documents are on cityhood except for the ones that I received today, and they'll be up tomorrow. And they're mostly just applications and drawings and plans and site plans and stuff like that. I'm glad there's some interest, though. That's good. The way I see it, quite frankly, and this is just my opinion, and I probably shouldn't even be telling you all this here, but I'll do it anyway. I'm not really that concerned about alcohol. That's my personal opinion. I know that a lot of people don't agree with that. And my opinion is, if we can get a good project, maybe we should consider giving them the right to sell alcohol. I mean, they're selling it at Whole Foods, they're selling it, I know we've turned down some in the neighborhood, but that's just my personal. We get a good project, a nice looking project, get rid of the pole sign, have a low sign instead of that big pole.
We should agenda.
All right, so we're gonna get moving on, that's for another day. Okay, any other land use comments?
I want to answer your question about 803, 805, Marketplace.
Yeah.
It's the STP.
Yeah, I was just looking at the
mail.
files.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question about that project?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so you said that they're combining two lots, they're gonna have two outbuildings. Are they gonna be residences, are they gonna be offices?
For one single family.
One single family is gonna live on the two lots with three different buildings. I just, I mean,
I didn't hear your question, what was it?
I wanted to know if all the three buildings that are gonna be combined on those two lots were gonna be residential buildings.
Demo a single-family resident on one lot, combine the lot, construct accessory building to a pool on the lot that the house was torn down on, and add 950 square foot to an existing single-family residence and remodel.
May I add something to this?
Yeah?
That is, there is no pool. They changed the plans. The problem is that the CDP, the description for the CDP that was posted on the property included a pool, but the determination letter, which granted the permits, had no pool. There was a discrepancy between the CDP and the determination from city planning.
So where do we stand? We're waiting to get that corrected?
I told Coastal, and I don't, they haven't, they're opening the
I
case
mean,
again.
it's on a Walk Street, they had to have a public hearing, right?
Well, you didn't have one.
No, whatever, if they don't have a public hearing, we don't have a public hearing. Was there a public hearing or no?
I don't know. I don't know.
That's what I'm in the process of looking up right now, but you seem to know a lot about it, so.
A swimming pool, depending on where it's located,
I mean, I just see
doesn't
a
require
DIR.
special permits.
So why don't you know?
They say they put the great shoot,
But it's on a Walk Street, you can't do it without a CA here, you can't get a sign off on I mean, you know better than me, your Walk Streets, right? I'm not aware of anything that can go without a CA hearing.
It went off my radar, so I mean, I don't
So
know.
there is a ZA case. I
Yes,
did
it
look
is.
up. It's 805 Marco.
The other thing,
If you look at the cityhood, there have been a great number of cases on this property actually over time, but the DIR is the most recent one. And that's in February of 2014. There have been, I mean, at least 10 or 12 cases on this site over the last couple of years.
Yeah, there's a ton of cases.
well, because he changed his plans. And the only thing that's on cityhood that I saw was a summary sheet for the new project, and it had no.
So let's move this forward, because if you're saying the architect's going to come in the next meeting, so let's just have them come.
Yes.
And we can
Yeah,
hash
and
this all out.
There's another issue. I think it's only one accessory building, as far as I can tell from the summary sheet. The problem is that it looks like the accessory building is attached to the main building, which makes it not an accessory building. An accessory building, by definition, is detached.
No,
So that's something else.
It could be attached as long as you have to go out to get in.
Well, I couldn't
I
tell
mean,
that
they
from
can
that.
have a ball attached.
We could
you
probably
in and
go
out
through a lot of hypotheticals here, we don't have the facts. You're saying that they're willing to come in next
Yes,
meeting?
yes.
Let's have a meeting with the architect and the applicant and figure it out.
Okay.
I think we're all happy with that. What's that?
Can you tell me when that's definitely on?
So Marnish is our staff lead.
I'm gonna put it
She's
on
gonna have to
the
speak with the
minutes.
applicant, make sure they're available to come, but our plan is for it to be next meeting, if
Yeah.
not, if you wanna know for sure, Marnish has got the case.
Can you give us enough time to give the residents?
Sorry?
Can you give us enough time to organize the neighbors to come?
Yes, he's gonna notify the neighbors.
But didn't you just say there's a DIR, which means it'll be automatically approved and never
But
appealable?
if you're gonna do a construction project on the Walk Street, unless I'm wrong, and you know Walk Streets really well, I don't believe you can get an over-the-counter sign.
They're just waiting, the
So are you
client
answering that
postponing
question?
things and trying to get.
I mean, you'd be as confused as I am if they got one, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Can you get a sign off? Can you get a sign off on the walk streets?
No, there's no sign outside the wall.
Unless it's issued by
It's
Venice.
always a
So we can spend a half hour going back and forth in hypotheticals here. The plan is for, in 2 weeks, we'll hear. If it doesn't, so you guys can connect.
Yeah, the plans were kind of lost in the department, so they kind of like apologetic to the
All right.
architect, and they just.
Let's be
We're an
clear-
hour into this
let's
meeting
be
already,
clear
haven't heard a
about
case.
one thing.
Yeah,
They're not building a new building.
correct. It's a remodel.
This is a remodel, and a remodel may not need.
I'm not familiar enough. I'd have to look at what the current process is. I don't know. We'll find out. The applicant's willing to come.
We should agendize it.
We'll agendize it.
But the
Okay,
PIR
I'm gonna move
will
on.
be
I'm
a
gonna
done
move on.
deal.
We're an hour into our meeting. We haven't heard a case yet. Okay.
Gifting.
And just for the
We're not
record,
gifting it.
Robert's case is not at 150, it's at 251.
251, so 251 Lincoln, if you want to look on cityhood.org, is
The address of the project is 251.
251 Lincoln.
All right.
Take a look.
Okay, so now we're gonna go to public comment. Is there any public comment on items that are not on our agenda, which is 758 Sunset and a discussion on small lot subdivisions? So if you've got a public comment that's not one of those two items, that's what we're here for. Daryl, first?
You said to speak on Primitivo.
Please, yeah. We're gonna hear them in 2 weeks. They got them forward in 2 weeks.
Right. Well, I think it's a no-brainer that it should be exactly the same as Joe's that was heard recently. They're right next door to them. They share the same parking lot, the same valet. They have an outdoor patio just like Joe's, so it seems like a no-brainer that everything that applied to Joe should apply to Primitivo.
My
As
understanding
far
was,
as hours.
my understanding was Joe's withdrew his application. All right?
But we still approved the project with a set of conditions, and I think if you're correct saying the conditions that we, as a neighborhood council approved, is in your opinion what you would like to see?
Yes.
Okay, but the major issue is, one of the major issues is parking.
Well, it was the employees parking on the street, but it was also the hours to close the patio at 10 and to close the restaurant at midnight and to restrict it to acoustic music
So
and,
you're talking noise, but I'm saying there's also parking issues.
right. As far as the valet's parking on the street and the employees parking on the
You
street.
know that they've expanded illegally,
Oh,
and Greg shoots I don't.